everyone, today's tutorial shows how to make these sugar pansies. I've tried to make them as easy as possible using the minimum amount of tools. I hope you like it. To make my pansies, I use a flour paste. Now it's important to use a flour paste because you can roll it out very finely without breaking, and this will give you more realistic looking petals. So to begin with, I'm taking a small amount of white flour paste and I'm rolling it into a tube, probably just under a centimetre in diameter. Then I'm going to take a knife and I'm just going to cut off two, say about 5mm width pieces and two about 2.5mm width pieces. Now I'm going to use a little bit of shortening here just to help prevent my paste from sticking. And I'm just using my rolling pin, and for the smaller pieces I'm just going back and forth like so, and you can see a little petal shape forming there. Now these are the two at the side of the pansies petals. The bigger ones are going to be for the bigger petals at the top, so for that I roll up and down and then I turn it round and I'm just making it a little bit wide. You don't have to be too worried about the shape here because no petals are the same shape or perfect. Okay, so there we go, and then we're just going to make that wider there. So you've got two each set are roughly the same shape. Now to make the final fifth petal, I'm actually using a heart cutter. So I've just rolled out some paste finely and I'm just cutting that out there. So now I've got all my petals on a foam pad and I'm just going to use my ball tool to go around the edge of each one just to soften the edges. So I've got my ball tool half on the paste and half on the foam pad, and you can see as I go around they soften and kind of curl up to look like real petals. So next I'm going to use one of my favourite tools, and it's my veining tool. And I'm just going to gently roll the tool over my petals, and if you can see the little veins appearing, and it really makes the petals look realistic. I just bring the petal to the edge of my mat and then just use my fingers and hand just to help roll it over the petals. I hope you can see that in the video. It really makes them look realistic, and it also thins them out slightly too, so they curl more and just look more like a petal. Okay, so for the heart, I don't want the pointed end so much at the ends. I'm just using some scissors just to take away the pointed end, and then I'm just going to get my ball tool and soften it in exactly the same way as I did the other petals, and then again to take it to the edge of my mat and use my veining tool just to create some veins, and there you go. And that's your 5 petals, and you can see here the arrangement that they're going to be in. So now I just take some clear alcohol, or you can use edible glue. I put it on the one side of the larger petal, and then I'm just going to put the other one over the top of it like that, look a bit like a heart shape. Then I'm adding a little bit more glue to the bottom there, and I'm just going to add the 2 medium-sized ones. There we go. And then we're going to use the heart-shaped petal just to cover up all the joins that we've made and pop it in there. And there, I hope you can see a pansy shape forming. So now I'm just going to pop it back onto my foam pad, and I'm just going to use the smaller end of the ball tool, and you want to go to the bit where all the paste are on top of each other, so it's the thickest part of the flower, and then just going to try and create a little triangular like indent inside it, and there you have it. So pansies are actually quite flat flowers, so I made my own former with some tin foil, and you can see I just put some little holes in the bottom of it to help aid the drying process. Just added a little bit of kitchen roll, and then going to pop my flower in there to dry overnight. So here you can see all of my pansies drying. I like the fact that they're all different because after all, no pansies are the same. You could obviously make them smaller if you wanted. You just need to start with a smaller tube of a flower paste at the beginning, and possibly a smaller heart cutter too. So it's the next day and my pansy is nice and dry and all the petals are hard, so I can start adding the colour. I'm adding primrose, an edible dusting colour for the yellow, and I'm adding grape violet for the purple. Okay, so I'm going to start with the primrose first. So I add a little bit of the dust to a kitchen towel, Now it's important when you add dust to petals that you just add a little bit at a time. You can always add more, but it's really hard to take it off, so you don't want too much on your brush before you add it. So keep dabbing onto the kitchen towel to take off the excess. So I'm starting in the middle of the flower, the little indent that we made there, just gently building up the colour until I get the shade that I want. So the great thing about dust is that you can have a nice gradual effect to make it look more like realistic petals. So now I'm happy with the middle, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the yellow to the bottom of the petal, the heart-shaped petal that we had. Just blending it in a little bit, building it up so it fades out slightly towards the outer edge. And there we go. So now I'm going to take my violet dust, and I want to add that colour to the outer edge of all the petals. So I'm just gently going around, and I'm just building up the colour as I go. So I actually got the idea to do a sugar pansy tutorial because I have a Facebook group, and one of the members asked if anyone knew of a sugar pansies tutorial, and after looking I couldn't really see many out there, so I decided to make one. If you would like to join the group, I will leave a link in the description. Okay, so that's the first petal pretty much done, and now I'll just go around and do the same on every petal. Okay, so now I'm just doing the finishing touches to the edges of the petals, and hopefully you can see a pansy forming. So here I've mixed some black edible dust with some clear alcohol to make a black paint. You could also use rejuvenate spirit if you like. And I'm just going to paint on those really fine black lines that you get on pansies. So you need a really fine paintbrush to do this. Just starting from the inside of the indent that we made and coming out and going down onto the heart-shaped petal. Now I'm going to add some black lines onto the petals just above the heart-shaped one. And there we go, that's the pansy finished. So now I'm going to show you how to make the pansies with the faces, starting again with a yellow centre. And then I took some blue edible dust this time, mixed it with some clear alcohol to make a paint. And then again, using my fine brush onto the heart-shaped petal, I just gently kind of flick the brush outwards, creating little lines, almost mimicking the shape of the heart really. You want to gently do it, building up the shape, and you want to try and get these little tiny flicks at the end so it looks like it's bleeding into the petal. And then I just do the same on the smaller petals above, but just a little bit smaller. Once this was dry, I did go over it again just to make the blue colour a little bit stronger and darker. So now I'm just adding the same blue dust around the edge of the petals. You could also use already coloured flower paste like I've done here, made in exactly the same way, and then I just painted on the black lines after it was dried. Don't forget to check out my blog post for more information about this tutorial. I do hope you found this tutorial useful. Don't forget to check out my other ones. Please comment, like and subscribe for more, and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.